Traditionally, when we had a question about people or society, the best method to answer these questions was to simply ask the individual or a segment of the population. If we had a question about science, we would perform a scaled experiment. In his new book, Everybody Lies, Big Data, New Data, and What the Internet Can Tell Us About Who We Really Are, author Seth Stephens-Davidowitz states that the new digital era has brought with it data sets that are new and improved and can help answer our questions. These new data sets, often referred to as big data, will soon replace traditional polling and traditional experiments as we seek to better understand ourselves and how the world operates. Big data, he argues, will give us the opportunity to answer questions we previously thought were unanswerable and to blow away previously held theories. Big data is indeed replete with these opportunities, and often is just waiting for someone to take the time to examine it. Stephens-Davidowitz illustrates these opportunities through colorful success cases in the book, although in the real world, there are also a multitude of failures of big data. An example of this case comes from Pioneer Natural Resources, a preeminent user of big data in the oil and gas industry. In the recently released 2018 study, Pioneer invited 5 analytics firms to pore over their big data set and offer them improvements in one of their key operations. Thousands of iterations later and millions of dollars spent, the key takeaway was, quote, "We didn't learn anything spectacular that we didn't already know." So much for big data solving all of our problems. The biggest opportunities often in big data is for analytics firms to make money off of somebody else. Another major premise of Everybody Lies is the fact that people do indeed lie, especially if they have something to lose or nothing to gain. The foundation of traditional polling services, such as Gallup and Pew, is the honesty of the answers given by the population being sampled. Given that the sample size is already limited, it is imperative that these answers be truthful, as they are then amplified to represent the general population. Stephens-Davidowitz points to the social desirability bias as one of the key weaknesses of these traditional polling services. He states that new data sets, such as Google searches, offers the anonymity needed to obtain more honest answers. This makes Google searches a fantastic data set, and indeed it is full of insights that previously would have been clouded by the social desirability bias. However, big data still requires somebody to interpret it, leaving the door wide open to bias to enter back in. Even if you have a million points, someone still has to decide how to draw a line through them. Although I agree with Stephens-Davidowitz about the honesty of the new data sets, I disagree about the default level of trust to put in the analyses of them. Another key limitation of big data is the fact that it still needs knowledgeable interpreters, hopefully unbiased ones. In Chapter 3, Stephens-Davidowitz states that you do not need to know why your model works, only that it works. An anecdotal story from a recent big data training that I attended shows why this theory is full of holes. A vice president of a company hired an analytics firm to come in and pore over the data of recently failed projects and to determine the causing factor. After weeks of analysis and work, the data analytics team returned to the vice president confident in their findings. They indeed had found a common variable across all the failed projects, the signature of the vice president approving the projects. Considering that the vice president has to sign off on every single project that comes out of the company, this result was totally useless. Having knowledge in the field of the data allows an interpreter to differentiate between correlation and causation. The vice president's signature was indeed the common variable across all the failed projects. However, this was simply a correlation. Despite all the things that Everybody Lies got wrong or de-emphasized, the book did get correct the importance of new types of data. In Chapter 3, 2 new types are mentioned, text as data and pictures as data. A new study from Columbia University and Pittsburgh University shows just how important big data can be. The study uses smartphone data to detect and characterize depression in teenagers. The study examines facial expressions in selfies as well as voice recordings for certain signs of elevated levels of depression. The study is able to detect signals that normally would have been hidden in traditional patient surveys as well as short examinations by professionals. This is where big data shines and could potentially save lives by detecting these suicidal signals. This story adds credibility to Stephens-Davidowitz's claim that the power of big data is indeed revolutionary. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed Everybody Lies. The captivating stories and fresh perspectives give life to a subject that is normally displayed as numbers flatly scrolling across the screen. The book gives insights and shines a light on one of the hottest tech buzzwords of today. There are some holes in the arguments about the massive potential of big data. However, this does not subtract from its importance and the large effect it will have on the world as we know it.